1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
He's a mouse. He's our eyes in the ring.
I really do enjoy watching him fight.
If you don't dedicate yourself to that sport, you will lose.
He's a warrior, man. He's always been a warrior.
They will run around. They will beat you.
And touches on it all the time. You gotta break the body down.
Go ahead, Cam. Go ahead.
Yeah, man.
Is the thing started?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right. It's all good. He's all ready to
Yeah,
go
man.
for me, man. Ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll and do this thing, man.
Let's do it. 8 Counts is back.
I want you to do the fight announcement and the fight result, man. Let's switch up a little bit. Let's
The
switch
fight
up.
announcements and the fight results. Let me pull up the notes now.
There's only 2 fight announcements. The fight result. Katie Taylor, Josh Kelly, and Jeff Horn, they all won. We can talk about the Jeff Horn real quick if you want to.
Couple of fight announcements. Kell Brook returns. 154 debut versus Sergey Rabchekno on March 3rd.
Rabchenko.
Yeah.
On March 3rd.
It's correcting me on the names now. Rabchenko on March 3rd. So look out for that one. March 3rd, guys. I don't know too much about the Sergey guy. Do you?
No, I think he's undefeated.
Undefeated.
If I check, I think he's undefeated, man. Let me double check that. No, he got 2 losses. He got 2
losses. All right. I don't know much about him, but it sounds like it should be a good fight.
Tune up, I think it's a tune up. I think it's a tune up for Kell Brook since he's moving to 154.
Yeah, it's gonna be 154 for him. So
yeah, you got to be careful about these tune up fights. We saw what happened with James DeGale last week. So
yeah, man. Garcia versus
Sergey Lipinets at 140 pound. Yeah, for those of you who remember, we actually mentioned the name of this gentleman. There was discussion of him fighting Bronner for the 140 pound title. Is it the WBO or the IBF? One of the 2 titles. So eventually, I guess Bronner ended up not getting that fight. So I guess it's Mikey Garcia stepping up to the plate. Mikey Garcia will face Sergey Lipinets, on February 10th.
PBC.
Yep, part of PBC fight. Without getting really into details, Katie Taylor, Josh Kelly, and Jeff Horn all won their fight. Katie was fighting, I think, on Thursday. Josh Kelly was fighting on Wednesday. Katie Taylor was fighting on Thursday. Jeff Horn was fighting on when was Jeff Horn fighting again?
That was like in the middle of the week, right?
Yeah.
It was in the middle of it, right? Because I saw it.
You saw that fight?
Yeah. It was just, guys were just...
What did you think, man? I didn't see the fight.
You didn't see the fight?
I didn't see the fight.
They were, it was rough. It was a rough and sloppy fight. It was. I didn't expect anything less. Jeff Horn got that win. So.
You think he's ready for Terrence Crawford?
Why are you going to even ask me that, man?
You think he got a shot? I don't know, man. He beat Manny Pacquiao, so I don't know. You think he got a shot?
No, man. No? I really don't.
Yeah.
If you just watch some highlights of the fight, he's a tough guy, but I don't think he has a boxing skill to stand in there with Crawford. Crawford's going to put in that work, and it's going to be easy. It's going to be an easy belt for him. So
easy belt. Yeah, I think I read something saying that Terrence Crawford is mandatory, but he may not fight Terrence Crawford just yet. He may take on someone else before. I don't know. That's just something I read. Then I don't know if that's going to happen, but. That wouldn't be such a bad move. Make your money before losing your belt against Terrence Crawford.
Hey, for real. Because I think that fight is pretty set in stone as a guaranteed removal of that belt for Jeff Horn. He's not going to beat Terrence Crawford.
I wonder if Manny Pacquiao will get that rematch
against Horn after he loses the belt. I don't know.
Yeah, because, man, he's been away from the ring for a while now. I don't know. Jesse Vargas also won his fight this past Friday.
That was a good fight. I saw that one. It was a good fight.
You saw that one? Damn, what do you think?
It was a good fight, man. I think he knocked him down at least one time. I didn't knock him down one time. It was a good competitive fight though. So congratulations to him.
I'm just happy that Jesse Vargas is now he's on the PBC card. So I'm just happy. We'll see him on I'm pretty sure we'll see him in the future versus Deshaun Porter, Keith Thurman. I'm just glad he's part of the PBC card now.
Yeah.
You wanna get on the Lemieux versus BJ Sanders?
Lemieux versus Saunders, man.
Saunders.
That fight happened last night. I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a shutout, man. I was surprised. I actually wasn't familiar with Saunders like that, and I know you had mentioned before. I think in the last episode, or even the episode before last,
Yeah.
I think you had Lemieux winning that fight initially, but then the last episode, you were like, I don't know, maybe Saunders might actually win, and he actually, he was so comfortable in there, man, and he was making a fool out of Lemieux. To me, he really had complete control over the fight, and he started off strong and ended strong. So unanimous decision.
Based on what I saw from Saunders up to that fight, I thought, and he mentioned himself. He mentioned himself that the past fight he wasn't in his best. So for everybody, after at his post-fight interview, he apologized for not what he did, but the way he fought his last fight. But yeah, man, last night, like you said, Jews. He embarrassed David Lemieux. He really made him look. I've always said I don't think Lemieux is. First of all, before I even get into the whole fight, I do want to apologize because I did pick Lemieux to fight to beat him based on what I saw in the past. But he was a much better boxer than what I thought. Like you said, he did everything he wanted to do in there. He was using his athleticism. That's crazy. He was using his, and what's it called? And BJ Sanders, he's someone that he beat Chris Eubank, early on in his career. His footwork was, to me, what won him the fight was his footwork.
Yeah.
Like, he was so good as far as, like, being able to move around the ring, take his shot whenever he wanted to. And I want to bring up the point of why is it so important to have good footwork in boxing. We saw it with Lomachenko last week, and we saw it with BJ Sanders this week, where fighters are able to, they're able to get out of situation whenever they want to because they have footwork. A lot of fighters don't have these abilities. You look at the Canelo and the Triple G, they are more stationary. Like they don't have footwork like that.
Yeah.
But you look at BJ Sanders, this man was looking like, and I know I'm going forward when I'm saying this, but he was looking like Ali in there, man.
Yeah, well, and so during that fight, one of the ring announcers, or not the announcers, one of the commentators, he touched on that too. Like he looked like he was going back to his amateur roots, hit that combo, hop out light on the feet, which is, what I saw too. And I think that's a good trait to carry over into the professional level of boxing. If you can do it right. Obviously there's two different styles of fighting, but I think it can be very useful depending on who you're fighting. And I think he capitalized on those talents that he still had. And, he was quick and sharp. And he was making Lemieux look like a very inexperienced boxer. So
it requires a lot of athleticism and a lot of conditioning.
Yeah.
Like being able to fight like that for 12 rounds, like it requires a lot. It requires good conditioning,
Yeah.
So yeah, mainly he used his footwork, he used his feet. Like I said, I feel like he could have even ended the fight if he wanted to, but he really wanted to put on the boxing display. He really wanted to show his boxing skills because the combos were there, jab. Every now and then he would throw a hook, overhand right. He would counter whenever he wanted to. Man, Lemieux, he made Lemieux look basic, man. Lemieux tried to blame it off of a hand injury, but Lemieux couldn't cut off the ring. Lemieux didn't use his jab. he really just looked like a brawler that really had no answer. So I just want to say, yeah, man, for everybody out there, man, footwork is the basic in boxing, man. A lot of fighters have these things where they have trouble going 12 rounds because they don't have the footwork necessary, but me seeing BJ Sanders fight like that really made me wonder he would be a really good matchup against Canelo or Golovkin. Because, those are the people he want to fight anyway. He's not interested in Danny Jacobs. He's not interested in any of these guys. But I think he would pose a real problems to either Golovkin or Danny Jacobs.
I think so too.
Or Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo. I think you meant Canelo. I agree. Even Canelo switched up his fighting style to be more mobile against Triple G because Canelo's usually the guy pressuring people and stuff like that. And he has a hard time hitting people that move. And he had to kind of switch roles and be that person that moved and play defense when he had to. And then Triple G, all he really has is power, and his footwork really isn't up there like I saw last night. So I think it'll be a good fight. If Saunders was in there fighting the same way he fought tonight, he could definitely give him trouble. But the only thing I'd question is his power,
Yeah, but I feel like he has a power that, I don't know. Go ahead.
With those guys, especially, with Triple G, he's not going to stop Triple G. But I mean, very few can anyway. Canelo has a chin too, so I think he would just have to play the stay away game. Mm-hmm. Do it like that, because I mean, he has great footwork and great hands. I feel like
me, from what I saw, he had enough power to keep David Lemieux at bay, because forget about the footwork for a second. When he was throwing jabs, when he was throwing combination, you could tell that just looking at David Lemieux face, first of all, you could tell that that's someone that has a certain power. Like, he has enough power that you have to respect him, that you can't just walk through over him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's one. I feel like he has enough power that Canelo or Triple G will have to respect that. I mean, not Triple G, because Triple G doesn't even care. He block punches. He block punches with his head. But where I feel like he may be a problem to both of them is, in order for them to be really effective, they need a stationary target. Uh-huh. And that's not how BJ Sanders fight. He's not someone that would just stand there and trade with you. And not only that, they have problems with people that are mobile. If you go back to Canelo versus Floyd, Canelo got outboxed by Floyd off of footwork. Floyd was staying in the pocket, but sometimes he was moving and Canelo had trouble following him. Same thing happened with Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs. People would tell me Golovkin does a good job as cutting off the ring, but the way BJ Sanders fight, to me, not only he's good with his footwork, but he's also good as far as slipping and ducking punches. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he has a pretty good head movement as far as like moving the upper part of his body.
Yeah, he has good defense.
And he's long. He has a pretty good reach, and he's a pretty big middleweight. So I feel like, honestly, he's demanding the Golovkin fight. I feel like I believe and I'm basing this off of what I saw last night. He could outbox. I don't know about Canelo, because Canelo is a pretty good counterpuncher, but he could outbox Golovkin. Yeah. I'm thinking right now. That's what I'm thinking right now off of what I saw, because obviously the answer I'm giving right now is emotional. It's based on what I saw last night, and I'm thinking. I've always said this. I don't think Triple G does anything so special. To me, Triple G is a guy that has so much power that people are afraid of exchanging and trading with him because of his power. But as far as boxing skills, he doesn't do anything that's so crazy that it's like, oh my God,
Yeah, it's nothing spectacular.
It's nothing really spectacular. It's more of his power. So if that fight were to happen, I think that he can. I could see him outboxing Triple G.
Yeah, I can see that too. I think Canelo actually, during that fight with Triple G, I think he outboxed Triple G. Obviously, it was a draw, but I think he was definitely the better boxer in that fight. So, I mean, I agree too. I don't think Saunders would be able to outbox Canelo, because he's pretty sharp.
And I was going to bring back up where you said that Canelo was trying to be more mobile versus Triple G, because he had to change his game plan. But the problem with Canelo is Canelo has conditioning issue, you know? BJ Sanders did not have any conditioning issue. That's the thing that I like about BJ Sanders, and I can give him a slight edge over Golovkin, is he doesn't have any conditioning issue. He doesn't take round off. Mm-hmm. Canelo does. And that's what the thing where it may have cost Canelo, in the eyes of a lot of people, it may have cost Canelo the fight where Canelo takes round off. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If he fight like this from first to 12, he may win the fight, but you can't take round off. Mm-hmm. And BJ Sanders, like I said, man, we have a new and improved version of him. Yeah, man, looks good. He really looks good.
Yeah, he did his thing. He definitely was a obvious one-sided decision. So congratulations to him.
Shut up, man. He won every round, man.
Shut up, wow. Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. I saw right after the fight, one of the boxing website posted a live video of Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs gave his take on the match, on the fight between Lemieux and Saunders, and he said that he wanted to fight Billy Joe Saunders, because we have Canelo versus Golovkin that's supposedly in the making for May 5th. So right now, Danny Jacobs' ring return is due for April. So Billy Joe Saunders not having a fight, Danny Jacobs is demanding that fight. He's demanding that fight now. So how would you see that fight play out? Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders.
I think Danny Jacobs would win. Yeah. I think he would. He puts on pretty good performances. I think he did very well against Triple G. He's got good footwork. He's got good hands. I think he would win.
There's level to this, man.
There's levels to this.
There's level to this. That's true.
There's levels.
There's levels, man. Because David Lemieux, he's not Danny Jacobs.
No.
Let's put it that way. Danny Jacobs is someone that has power. Like you said, he did really well against Golovkin. But that would be a really good fight, man. If they could set up that fight in in England or even here, I don't even care. But that would be a really, really good fight, man. Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders. And I'm like you. I have Danny Jacobs win that fight, but man, I would love to see it though.
Hell yeah.
What we got next, moving on from that, man, from that fight. Oh yeah, man. Tyson Fury is finally free to box. His 2-year ban, dating back in December 2015, ended on December 12th. So, who do you think he should fight next, man?
Who should he fight next? Damn, man.
I actually saw an interview, by the way. I wanted to ask you, but
I didn't see any interviews.
He kind of answered. Yeah, he kind of answered because Tyson Fury was at the fight. He was at the Lemieux versus B. Joe Saunders fight. So, obviously some of the media questioned him about who he would want to fight next now that he's available to fight. Yeah. And you know who he said?
Who did he say? I don't know. I have no idea who I think he should fight next. He's gonna need like a tune-up fight, obviously, but I don't know.
There was a few names mentioned. There was a Dalen White name. There was a Shannon Briggs fight, and there was even a David Price. No, there was is it David Price or Kevin Price? No, it's David Price. David Price he was a British prospect. He's a long, tall guy. He was supposed to be the next thing in British boxing, but he got dropped. So he's currently building his career back. But anyway, to answer the question, he said Shannon Briggs, man.
Shannon the Cannon. That would be a good tune-up fight, I think. I think that would be a good tune-up because, Shannon Briggs is like, what? He's like 40-something, right?
That's good, champ. He's 45 or 46.
He's a big man, but I think that would be a good match for him. Cause he can still move. I know he's itching to get back in the ring too.
What is it? Yeah.
He stay itching to get back in the ring, but everyone just kind of brushes him off.
You know what's crazy is we see it as a tune-up fight, but that would be a big fight in England because now the British fans, they like Shannon Briggs, man. Yeah. They like him, so they like him. He's a big dude. He's 6'4". Yeah, he's 45, 46. I can't remember, but he's still a big dude. He still has a name. They both fun characters. They bring the fun entertainment that the sport needs. So it would make for a great press conference. Yo, like the lead up, like the training camp, like, man, the press conferences for these fights would be Shannon Briggs and Tyson Fury, man. Sure.
Champ. That'd be, I would want to see that a lot, actually, thinking about it now.
And I feel like they would easily send out an arena. Easily.
Yeah. Hey,
because, like I said,
Shannon Briggs, he actually did fight not too long ago. I'm thinking like it was maybe last year, like a year and a half. I don't know who he fought. It wasn't anybody.
He wasn't
anybody crazy, but he beat the guy, quote unquote. He beat the guy with like a body shot or whatever.
He's trying to get that fight, but yeah. If that's a fight that can get made, man, Tyson Fury versus Shannon Briggs, hey man,
Shannon the Cannon.
Why not?
Shannon the Cannon. Let's go, champ.
All right, I gotta bring this up because that's something that somewhat bothers me.
Let's hear it, Ant. What's on your mind?
I posted this week on the page, A-Count Podcast on IG.
A-Counts, what up?
So the boxing reporter for ESPN, Dan Rafael, everybody that follows boxing knows him, he tweeted after the Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux, he tweeted that the Lomachenko we saw last in December 9 would be a great matchup versus Floyd at 130, and he may even beat Floyd at 130. Now, I understand that people want to promote Lomachenko, and Lomachenko is a great fighter, but my problem is he only has 10 fights. His name shouldn't be associated with Floyd after 10 fights. Nah. They already have Lomachenko number one in the pound for pound list, and I get it. He has amazing skills. The disrespect is just, to me, the disrespect is just too much, man.
Disrespect is for real.
Floyd at 130, and I mean, it's even crazy that I even have to make the comparison because now he put me in that situation. But Floyd at 130, man, he had you're talking about no hand injury. You're talking about speed. You're talking about movement. You're talking about.
So real quick, Ann, is this like the type of situation Floyd at 130 back in his like prime, or as if Floyd today were to fight at 130? Like what's the scenario?
No, that's what I'm saying. The tweet, he said Floyd at 130. Floyd at 130 means prime Floyd.
So back in the day Floyd, not Floyd
exactly.
at 130.
That means Diego Corrales Floyd.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Because I looked at that too, and I was like, does he mean like current Floyd at 130, or back in the day Floyd that was knocking dudes out and killing people?
I can see it. Okay, I can see it being an exciting fight, and very interesting matchup for sure. But man, you're talking about a different animal right there.
Yeah, man, Floyd was lethal back in the day, man. He was crisp and lethal.
People did not want to fight the guy. They really didn't want to fight the kid.
And it's a shame. I think it's Floyd's career. He's been doing this for 20 years, and I think people really forget how great of a boxer he really is, but even more so back in the day when he first started and was in his prime, he was devastating to a lot of fighters.
He was hungry.
Yeah, man, he was an animal.
Hungry.
He was an animal, and I think people are too quick to forget that and be like, "Oh, Floyd's scared." I mean, because you're a fighter. Once you're a fighter, you're always a fighter. Now your mindset doesn't change. His mindset is still the same. Obviously, his body is older, but he used to take people out, line them up, and take them down.
I think that's the thing that bothers me with the media the most is they always want to find someone that could beat Floyd.
Yeah.
If they're not going to bring the past, like, Roberto Duran will beat Floyd, or Sugar Ray Leonard will beat Floyd. Yeah. They go to Gennady Golovkin would have beat Floyd. It's like, can you just stop always trying to find people to beat Floyd? He's 50-0. Floyd beat more world champion than anybody in the sport, in the history of this sport. Yeah. And Floyd is not gonna be beaten by someone that already has an L in his record. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Only an undefeated fighter will beat Floyd. So, if people want to see what Floyd looked like at 130, I'm just gonna reference the Diego Corrales fight back in 2001. If you want to see what Floyd looked like, the best days of Floyd, go on YouTube, watch Diego Corrales fight. Do yourself a favor. Mm-hmm. Now the people that are listening, I know a lot of people will tell me, but he lost against Castillo, the first Castillo fight. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. He won that fight. Yeah. He won that fight. So that argument really bothers me. Lomachenko is great in his own right. He's doing good things in the sport, but before naming him number one and before giving him all the accolade he hasn't won just because he looks good in the ring, let's wait a few more fights. Let's put him against the Mikey Garcia of this world. Let's put him against the Linares of this world.
Please put him against Linares.
and we'll have that discussion after that, But I'm just gonna finish this. And before that, I'm not trying to hear no Lomachenko versus Floyd. Yeah. I'm not trying to hear that.
And just to kind of add on, I know you closed it off, but just to add on, like
no, go ahead.
They even. And they always try to find. They said Ronda Rousey could beat Floyd at one point, and it's a whole different sport. I think when it comes to that type of stuff or those type of comparisons, I think people love thinking about it and then being able to talk about it without ever really being having to prove it. It's like, hey, you can argue for this, but it's never going to happen, so I don't have to prove it. So there's my argument right there. Because Ronda was never going to fight Floyd. Lomachenko was never going to fight Floyd.
Never. Like you said, man, people would rather have those what if.
Yeah, because the what if is there aren't going to be any results. There isn't going to be a definite answer. There isn't going to be something there's going to be something you can argue with because you're never going to find out what the answer is.
Because
I can say Lomachenko is going to beat Floyd all I want, but we're never going to find out. So
And that's the reason why, because the reason why they're making that comparison is because he beat Guillermo Rigondeaux. Like what they did is, and I knew they were going to do this, is they're only taking the name. They're not looking at the fact that Lomachenko was way bigger than Rigondeaux. All they see is
you know who said that too, man?
He beat Rigondeaux. Who?
After the Saunders fight, Brendan Rios. He was talking about. They were asking him, and they're like, "Yeah, what do you think of the Lomachenko fight?" And he was like, "Man, it was a good fight, but he fought a guy that was a lot smaller than him, and it's just. I mean, it's obvious.
The media don't care about that, man. The media don't care about that. They just want to make news.
Yeah, exactly.
They just want to make news. They just, like I said, we'll see. Lomachenko career is gonna take reach a new height right now because he had the Rigondeaux name on his resume, and Rigondeaux was the boogeyman in boxing, was the person that no one could beat. So forget what happened. He made, at the end of the day, it's just true. At the end of the day, he made Rigondeaux quit. Yeah. And that's all that matters.
No mas.
To stay on the Floyd and to stay on the Floyd topic for a second, did you hear the news that, and this is just to show you how much people talk shit about Floyd, but still want to see him fight. Apparently, Floyd was offered a fight deal with the UFC worth $1 billion, man.
I saw that. I watched like a 10-minute clip of Floyd. I think he was on like Instagram Live talking about it. Just saying how he could come back and still make money and screw all the haters, all that stuff, because people are always going to continue to talk shit about him, but yet they still want to use him for entertainment. So. What do you think of that, though? That $4 billion not $4 billion, the $1 billion Floyd fight deal.
I think money is not everything. Like sometimes you can't just look at the money, man. Like it's a whole lot of money, but he already earns so much money.
He's set,
and not only he's set, but he can use that money to invest in so many things that will make him make that amount of money. You have such a big name in boxing. Walk away from the sport. Don't let the sport retire you. That's what I would tell. I mean, I'm nobody to tell Floyd what he has to do, but he's smart enough at this point. He surrounded himself with people educated enough to show him ways to make money that will still earn him that amount of money.
Yeah, he's set. He doesn't even have to worry about that. Like he's made his investments.
And the UFC that would be dumb. First of all. From what I saw from the McGregor fight, whether he let McGregor punch him all the way to the 10th round, or he carried the fight, he still looked very old in my opinion, in that fight. He still looked very old.
His age definitely showed.
UFC is a different game, man.
Uh-huh.
I have so much respect for what he did in the ring that I wouldn't want him to even risk that just for money. It's not worth it, man. It's really not worth it.
No, I mean he's on top of the world right now in the fight game. Like you don't need to prove anything to anybody anymore, man.
Exactly. Let people have these what if conversation. Let them be. You know what I mean? Because now you're gonna take away from everything he's going to take away from everything you've done in the sport of boxing if you were going to the UFC. I understand he's a business guy, but like I said, he may risk or tarnish something, and for what?
Nothing.
For the pleasure of the fans. The fans are never going to give him the recognition and I think Floyd realized that after, I don't know what fight he realized that the fan will never give him credit no matter who he beat.
Yeah.
Canelo was too green.
Uh-huh.
Oscar De La Hoya was over the hill. Manny Pacquiao was over the hill. There's no win that people are gonna give him credit for.
No.
So what are you gonna prove by going to the octagon?
Nothing.
All you would prove is giving the fight fans a reason to be like, oh, you're not as good as you're not that good in the octagon.
Yeah.
That's it.
Stay clear from that. Like you don't need that. Like I think at the end of the day, it's about how you want to be remembered. Do you want to be the undefeated Floyd from the boxing ring, or do you want to be the Floyd that wanted to make, $1 billion to climb back in the cage and prove a point? I mean, the thing is that he doesn't need the money, so at this point, I think he really would just be trying to make fans happy and falling into that trap. They don't need to do that.
I don't even think it's about a fan. I think you see $1 billion, but your legacy is not worth that money.
Hell to the no.
What do you accomplish in the sport of boxing? Forget the 50, not even just forget it, just looking at the 50-0. There's so much that count into that 50-0 that people don't see. Like I said, he beat more world champion than anybody else. He's been in more world title fight than any fighter in the history of the sport. So it's not just 50-0. You know, it's not just 15-0. Other than that, he's changed so many things in the way fighters approach fight, in the fighting game, not even just in boxing, in the fighting game, that money cannot replace that.
Nope.
You see what I'm saying? Money cannot replace that. So, yeah, man, honestly, build your promoting company. Hell, even sign UFC fighters if you have to. But now you're a boss. You don't have to be a product anymore. Now you can be the one controlling the product. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You reach that level. You reach the level where you can be the condition in the discussion where I want to buy out part of the UFC. I want to have a boxing company. You know? That's what a real boss does. You don't have to fight anymore.
No, he doesn't.
You don't. And I'm not saying the fighters, you know, but the fighters are getting exploited pretty much. But you reach the own boss status, and the next move for you to reach that own boss status is buying part of the UFC or creating your own boxing company. Yeah. You know?
No, it's the truth. I mean, he has all the resources to do so. And I know he's surrounded by a good team of people that will definitely, you know, advise him to do things like that. You know, I mean, if he wants that, I mean, I think he has to make that decision. I don't want him to get trapped in this ending cycle of trying to, you know, make that extra $1 billion when he can do it by some other means. So, I mean, he'll be all right though. I mean, I know he's not going to do anything too like stupid. At the end of the day, I think he's going to realize like his legacy is more important than anything.
So many, and that's the problem. So many fighters do. They take a fight for the money. They did the last fight they should not have done. I think that's what happened to Oscar de la Hoya versus Manny Pacquiao, for example. That fight was back in 2008. Mm-hmm. Or, like I said, he had already accomplished everything in the sport of boxing. He already had Golden Boy, promotion company. But maybe he wanted to prove to himself that he could still beat, someone great. What Oscar did, Oscar drained himself to make weight for that fight. And he got beat up by Manny Pacquiao, and that's how he left the sport. Yeah. The last image we have of the great fighter that Oscar de la Hoya was him quitting versus Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. And I would hate, Oscar is the only one example, and I would hate to see the same thing happen to Floyd.
Yeah, man. If you can avoid it, by all means do it. So, especially with Floyd's situation, you know, he's his own boss. He doesn't have to. That's the biggest thing. He doesn't have to do any of that.
I'm just gonna stay on the UFC or MMA, not the UFC. So the last person, of course, Floyd fought, which was McGregor. Finally, I think he finally had an interview or something. Not an interview. Did you see that online, where McGregor, he got interviewed and he finally responded that he want to go back to MMA. He's not interested in, I guess another boxing match.
I think it was either from like someone posted like a tweet about it or something like that, or it was a picture of McGregor and a caption of whatever he had said. It was quoted under it. So yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, what? Why not? I mean, he can make so much more money. He can make so much more money just in the fight game, period.
Like I said, he's not interested in I think it's a smart move, man. I mean, it's a smart move because that's your element. You know, the UFC, the octagon is your element. And his fight return is going to be so huge, man. It's going to be so big, man. I don't know who he's going to fight. You know, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be Nick Diaz. I doubt it's going to be Nate. Whether it's Woodley, whether it's, I don't think the GSP fight is going to happen. I mean, it's probably not going to be GSP because GSP has issues as far as, you know, with he has issues, I think, health issues right now. Mm-hmm. But thing is this, McGregor still has to defend his belt. And he has a belt at 145 and he had a belt at 155. He has never defended any of the belt for the past, either of them for the last, year and a half. And that's again, goes back to the politics of sport, the sport politics, you know? Yeah. Any other fighter would have had to relinquish the belt by now, you know? Any other fighter, whether it's an injury or inactivity around the ring, you would have had to relinquish the belt. The belt. But because it's McGregor and McGregor is bringing money, they allowed him to keep that belt.
Kicked his feet up for a little bit, laid back.
So man, I'm just trying to think, man. Now that he said he's trying to go back, I'm just trying to think. Like I said, Woodley fight, but man, he want to stay away from Woodley though.
I don't know. I don't know who he'd fight.
He's like, Kenny's like, he's like.
I can't say I don't be following UFC that closely, man.
I know, but that'd be it. Yeah, man. So he's going back to the UFC. I think that's a smart move, man.
Get away from boxing, man. That's our sport, yo.
So I got a quick question now that so tonight the BBC has the sport personality of the year. You know, so Anthony Joshua has been named, as we talked about last episode. Anthony Joshua has been named sport. He's among the candidate for the nominee for sport personality of the year. You know, in Britain. So my question to you is, right now, who do you think is who's the most scariest person in combat sport? Is it Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, or Francis Ngannou?
I'm gonna say Ngannou, man. I'm saying Ngannou, man. I'm trying to look at it from an unbiased perspective. One, I'm not a big fan of Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua, I look at him and I see him fight. I don't see a very scary obviously looking at him, he's big, powerful, but he's not intimidating. Like he's not intimidating. Ngannou, and I'm saying this in their respective sports. Like Ngannou is a scary dude in MMA, in the UFC. In boxing, I don't think Ngannou's scary, but I don't think Deontay Wilder's a scary guy in boxing. I don't think Anthony Joshua is a scary individual in boxing.
But the thing, Francis Ngannou was trying to. The thing is, he was trying to be a boxer at first.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And what I'm saying is, I don't think it really matters the size of the gloves, man. If you put him in the ring, I think it would be even worse. Because the reason why I think it would be even worse, because in MMA, at least they have a chance to take him in. They have a chance as far as submission. They have a chance, to do, like I said, submit him on the ground. The octagon is bigger. Mm-hmm. So they have more of a chance to actually do damages to him. Low kick, like I said, submission, ground strike, all that. In boxing, it's just hands. And what we realize is, if that dude connect, man, you going down, man.
I saw him. You might have seen the clip too. I saw him like on the street, just like shadow boxing real quick. Yeah. Did you see that clip? Yeah, I saw that. I looked at it and I was like, wow, it didn't impress me. It wasn't. I know he's got power, but I don't think that technique or his style would hold up too well in the ring.
The thing is this, Cam, you have to remember this. The heavyweight division is not so much about skills, it's more about power than it is about skills. Yeah. So to me, if you put a guy like that in the heavyweight division, and if he has a good chin, man, I think he would still do damages regardless. Oh yeah, the only problem.
He definitely would give a lot of people a run for their money. I think.
Like I don't see Anthony Joshua doing anything. Like that's a fight. Honestly, if they want to continue doing those crossover fights, I would want to see that crossover fight. I would want to see
Ngannou versus AJ.
That fight will make money. Listen. If Ngannou can build up his profile a little more, let's say he wins versus Stipe in January 20th, UFC, right? And he beats more mandatory. Let's say a year goes by. They can do another crossover fight. I'm telling you, Ngannou versus Joshua will be the biggest fight. It's even bigger than Deontay Wilder versus Joshua. Yeah. Guaranteed.
Hey, I believe you, man. I believe you.
And that's the first fight. I'm telling you, Joshua will be the underdog. No, there's no way people will put him favorite.
You don't think so?
No way. Yo, okay.
And then this is you're basing this off of just like power, huh?
Power, because that's what the heavyweight division is. We wanted the heavyweight division to be about skills, but if you notice, combat sport, as we getting bigger, it's sometimes it's not even the better fighter who wins. It's just the fighter that has the most power, the one that connect first. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I see Anthony Joshua, for example, a Takam, for example, can go 12 round or 10 round versus Anthony Joshua, or Klitschko, who's known to have not the best chin, Klitschko was able to get back up a few times versus Anthony Joshua. Mm-hmm. So it made me wonder. Everybody Francis Ngannou hit goes down within the first punch. Yeah. I've never seen this dude hit somebody and that person stayed in the middle and trade.
Get back up.
So we're in a new age now.
I guess I'm not the right one to elaborate on his style because I haven't seen him fight too much. Like I said, I saw the last fight,
right?
And then I saw him quickly shadow boxing in that small clip in the street, and that's something that I wasn't impressed by that, and I shouldn't really expect anymore because he's not. I shouldn't expect him to look like a boxer because he's not. I'll trust your opinion, Ant. I will trust your opinion. I would favor the boxer in the boxing match naturally, but you made some good points about Anthony Joshua. If he can take Anthony Joshua's power, and Anthony Joshua can't take his power, then that's what it's going to come down to.
I'm just saying it should be the next crossover fight.
I would love to see that.
If they want to make money, that should be the next crossover fight. Honestly. Hell
yeah.
But
and I do want to see more MMA boxing crossover fights. I do.
But that's what I'm saying. But they have to be worth the money. In order for
people that one definitely, yeah, like you said.
That's what I'm saying. Those fights have to be worth the money. So yeah, like that. Like really, people really have to be like, yo, I really don't know who would fight, who would win that one.
But to answer the question, I do think Ngannou is the scariest man right now in the combat sports. Like I said, I don't feel that type of intimidation from Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder.
He can be, honestly, if he can continue learning English a little more, he can become the new face of UFC. And I'm not going to touch on UFC because I know that's not, our area of expertise, but it's just, area of expertise. Anyway, you get my point.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I'm saying, he could be the new face of the UFC, and doing the new face of the UFC versus the new face of boxing crossover fight, man.
8 Count Promotions, what's up?
I feel like Dana White will pressure for that fight, man. You bring your best, we bring our best. What's up?
8 Count Promotion, what's up?
What's up? What's up?
Come on, man. Let's make these fights happen.
Let's make these fights happen, man. But anyway, I got one more question I'd like to ask you. That's gonna open a big topic. Depending how do you feel about it. So, why do you think in the current boxing scene right now, what do you think is the most exciting division in boxing?
I think 147 pound weight class. Cause you got Errol Spence, you got Crawford coming up now. You got Thurman. Yeah, you got some pretty solid fighters in that division. I still think that, the heavyweight is making a lot more noise now too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would say 147. I think there's a lot of good competition at that weight class, and we got fighters coming up like Crawford and who's the number one on the pound for pound list, and who's pretty confident about taking on some of these guys, and I would love to see that too. So I'm gonna say that weight class, 147. Well, I think they have the most. I think they have the widest span,
the most loaded, widest span. I disagree, man. I beg to differ, man.
What class?
I thought about it at 147. The Spence, the Thurman, the Porter, the Jesse Vargas, and Terence Crawford coming up. But I beg to differ, man.
Who you got?
You know who I got the middleweight division. Honestly,
I knew he was gonna say that.
Right now, nah, man.
I knew he was gonna say it because I thought about that for a quick second.
Because you don't know who's who. Like the middleweight division, you got the Jamal Charlo, still undefeated. Demetrius Andrade, still undefeated. You have Billy Joe Saunders, who still undefeated.
Yeah.
You have Gennady Golovkin, still undefeated. You have Canelo. You have Canelo. Who else we got at middleweight? Shit. That's 5 names. That's already 5 that's 5 names right there. You have Danny Jacobs that I forgot to. That's another one.
What's his name?
Danny Jacobs. Well, Lemieux is he's a little under, so I'm not gonna.
What is Yard fight at again?
And no, Yard he's a super.
He's super middleweight. Okay, yeah.
No, he's light heavy. Is he light heavy?
I thought was he 168? The Lions in the den, man.
Yeah, he's light heavy. 170, 175. Yeah, I'm saying.
I didn't know. Jeez.
I told you, he's a big boy, man. Big boy. But the reason why I'm saying middleweight is because you don't know who will win this fight. If right now, let's say right now we set up Demetrius Andrade versus Jermell Charlo. We don't even know who will win. You put Danny Jacobs versus Jermell Charlo. We don't know who will win. You put Andrade versus Danny Jacobs. We don't know who will win. You put Golovkin versus Charlo. We don't know who will win. You know what I mean? Like the 147. Yes, there's more names, but we can kind of tell who will win. Like you give me the only fight I really see at 147 is Spence versus Crawford, or Thurman versus. To me 147 is Thurman, Crawford, Spence.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thurman, Crawford, Spence.
Exactly, those are the three real names at 147. Danny Garcia, he's a little under. Danny Garcia is not really in the discussion. Bronner is not. I don't even know if you count Bronner at 147. No, Sean Porter, Showtime, yeah. Cat Brook just left 147, So 147 is only three big names. But middleweight is six. I'm telling you, middleweight is six names. Billy Joe Saunders, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo, Jermell Charlo, Demetrius Andrade. Those are any of these matchups, we don't know who will win. Yeah, we literally don't know who will win.
You have to give me more time to think about these questions, eh? Because you're right. You are. I mean, thinking about it now, initially, because I was going to say it, but I didn't even think about names. I thought of when I first started. When you said that, I was like, all right, who's in middleweight? And the first name I thought of was Charlo, and then I stopped there, and then I went back to 147. But yeah, you're right. If who's the most loaded? Like you said, as far as span, who's the most loaded? We can say 147. Yeah, of course.
There's more names than 147. Yes, but if you talk about most exciting as far as a matchup that can be made, is middleweight. Right now, middleweight is, to me, it's on the rise.
Yeah.
Middleweight is really the division where you're just like, man, it's a bunch of killers in there, man.
Yeah, man,
it's straight killers at middleweight.
Part of my hang up on that too was just you hear more about the 147 pounders, and I think that's
they have more household names.
Yeah, I think that's the difference when it just comes to the popularity of those fighters and those fights happening, or you hearing about them happen more, is because you have more, like you said, more household names. So I think for people that aren't too familiar with the names of the people in the divisions and like the sport itself,
and Chris Eubank can still make 160. He's actually a middleweight, really. He's not a super middleweight. If you think about it, Chris Eubank Jr. is really a middleweight. He's not a super middleweight.
Yeah, man, I'll agree. I mean, there's a lot of good names at middleweight.
All right, wrap up the episode, man.
Yeah, man.
Let's wrap up this episode.
I'm going to tell them where we can find us at.
Yes, sir.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything at 8 Counts Podcast. All right, you can email us at 8countspodcast@gmail.com with any questions or topics you want us to talk about. Thank you for the support, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep doing this for you guys, and something we also enjoy. And we hope you guys are having a good and safe holiday season.
Holiday season.
You got anything you want to say?
That's for the Gucci fans over there. Nah, man, really, like you said, Merry Christmas to everybody. Yeah, man, that's really all I have to say. Cam, you already said everything that needs to be said.
All right, man.
And like I said, if you guys have any questions, any comments, certain things you want us to touch on, hey, we'll cover it.
All right.
All right.
We out.